Hello. You join me as I've just been walking uphill through a housing estate in Largs. And I'm out of breath already. And I'm going to be even more out of breath because I'm heading up into the hills at Largs. I'm heading towards Gogo Water and Greeto Water, which is two small rivers up in the hills. It's a scorching hot day and I'm already feeling the heat. It's around midday, so it's only going to get hotter. So we'll see how far I get. That's a view of Largs town, where I've just walked up from. That street directly ahead, with the red cars driving down, leads down to the town centre and your train station. So it took maybe no more than 10 minutes to get to the start of this trail. But Largs is looking like it's going to be very busy today, because when the sun's out, pretty much everyone from Glasgow down the west coast heads to Largs and the Millport across the water there, where I did a video a couple of weeks ago. You get the ferry from Largs, not far from where that church steeple is. And that's Millport, the island nearest to us there. But you get one hell of a view on a sunny day like today. You can see right past Millport to Arran on the left, with the mountain peak. I think that's probably the Isle of Bute to the right. I'll get a better view the higher up I get. I just thought I'd stop here and take a quick video because I'm out of breath and I need to get my breath back. So anyway, let's continue upwards. Okay, I've got two paths here. I better consult the map because I don't know which one's the right path. Straight ahead it is. I should have worn shorts today. Oh, just too warm. That's a hell of a view. Absolutely gorgeous, lush green valley. I'm about halfway to where I'm intending to go, but I'm really struggling. It's just too warm today. Must be about 25 degrees and I'm sweating with this hat on, but I need to keep the hat on because the sun will burn my baldy head if I don't keep it on. My specs are slipping off my face with the sweat, so I'm contemplating going back to the town and doing this on a cooler day. And I hate turning round. I want to reach the top, but I know my limits and I'm struggling. Every part of my body is soaked with sweat, so I'm going to walk up, look around this corner, and if it looks too steep, I might just head back to Largs and shoot another video down there. But at least you'll get the views from up here, where I can already get views behind me. Not bad. But, oh man, I don't like weather like this, not when walking uphill. And I just drank a bottle of water. It makes me feel queasy. So I mean, it's a fair bit I've come up. It's some height for an old baldy in a scorching day. It wouldn't be so bad if I had some shelter, but there's absolutely nowhere to hide from the sun. It's just beating down on me. And with having the rucksack on my back, it's just making me even more sweaty. And my rucksack's just full of water, so I didn't get dehydrated. a few bottles of water, but it adds to the weight. So, what to do? I think I'll try and walk up very slowly for a few minutes, see how I feel. I mean, this isn't exactly a Munro, a mountain over 3,000 feet, but when you don't do walking a lot or training a lot, these steep hills in a warm day become quite difficult. Probably in a cool day, I could manage it no problem, but today, it's hard work. Anyway, I've sat down, had a wee rest. Let's try and get a wee bit further up the hill. Right, I've taken the rucksack off my back, I'm just holding it in my hand. Try and get a bit of air about my body. See if that helps. Because if I could reach the top, it'll be fairly straightforward coming down. And I'm halfway there, but it's been a difficult halfway to reach. Oh, you can hear how out of breath I am. Struggling. I need to stop. Look at that sun just right up ahead, no shade from it. I'm going to set myself a mini target. The mini target is to reach those trees up ahead. Then I'll see what the land looks like there. At the pace I'm going at, it'll take a while to reach those trees. I wouldn't mind somebody explaining to me why there's a gap in the fence here. It goes right down to an extremely steep, overgrown valley. I mean, you couldn't possibly walk down there unless you were nuts. Running water and a cool breeze. Right, well, as you can see, I've made it to the trees. Got a little bit of shade from the sun here. Unfortunately, there's a lot of flying beasties, as usual. That's what usually happens when you hit the trees. Go away. So I looked at the map, and I'm about 3/4 of the distance there. So 3/4 of the distance, but I've still got to go uphill. I can see hills away behind me. If it's up there, I'm definitely not going to reach it. But the path levels out just at the end of this little row of trees. So I'm going to see if it looks flat up there. And if it's flat, I'll try and make my way to Greeto and Gogo Water. And maybe the waterfalls if I can find them. If it's hilly, I'm doing an about turn. Well, this path isn't too steep. And the views are great, so I'm going to keep walking slowly for now. But as soon as this path gets steep, I'm calling it a day and I'm going back downhill. I don't know if the camera can pick up how steep the side of this valley is and just how far away the river is at the bottom. That will be Gogo Water. And what's worrying is, if that's Gogo Water, then it means the path I want to follow, if I look to where the valley bottom goes up, the path on the left here goes right up that hill, and that must be where the waterfalls are. So I don't think I can make it up there. It looks a bit much, but we'll walk for now. See, when you look across that valley, you see just how steep it is. Well, I don't know if the camera picks up how steep it is, but trust me, it's very, very steep, very, very high. But at the other side, there's a car park that you can drive up to. It's called Haley Brae, and it's pretty much if you're leaving Largs by car, heading towards Glasgow, or some of the Ayrshire towns like Dalry, Kilwinning, Kilburnie, you would go up that road, and just when you get to the top, the Haley Brae car park is right there. If you park there and walk for 10 minutes up the hill, you get all the spectacular views out across the water. Spectacular views that I'll have to walk away up a lot further to get to this side. Unfortunately, I don't drive, so the only time I've been to Haley Brae is when somebody has driven me. I did a video about a year ago where my cousin drove us up there and we went to walk up. It's so much easier when you don't have to walk it, or walk most of it. So if you drive and you're visiting this area and you want a nice view, that's the way to do it without sweating buckets and having a heart attack. Now, if I'm reading my map correctly, then Gogo Water is just around this bend to the left. Now it shows the waterfalls then off a little bit to the right, but I suspect that means going away down into that valley, because I can hear the waterfalls in the distance to my right, and I'm not going to go away down into that valley because it's so steep I'll not get back up. But I'm not 100% sure because this is the first time I've came here. So I'll walk around the corner to the left and have a look, have a rest, drink some water. But also, as you can see to my left there, there's another path. So I was looking at this path to see where it leads. And it does a big circular right around the back of Largs, across the hills, and comes back out at the opposite side of Largs from where I entered. So if you're really fit, that looks like it'd be a cracker of a walk to do. So if I can get a little bit fitter, which isn't easy, considering I'm in my 50s, then maybe I'll do that someday. But for today, I'm going to follow the path round to the left here because it's nice and flat, and then just see what I can see. So I think I'm almost finished with this walk before heading back home, or at least back to Largs. I'm so tired I'm tempted to go into the pub and get a pint. I mean, this view, look at that, it just opens up. It's hard to believe how close this is to Glasgow and Paisley and all the little Ayrshire towns. But this will be part of the Clyde Muirshiel National Park, I believe it's called. You know, when you're thinking of national parks in Scotland, you're usually thinking of Loch Lomond. Nobody's thinking about this place and thinking, oh, forget Loch Lomond, we're going to go to Clyde Muirshiel National Park. Well, this is what you get if you come here. I mean, those views. And if you look away up that hill, the paths go a lot further. I mean, I'll look at the map, there's all these paths are weaving all across the landscape. You know, so you don't need to go to the Highlands to find some nice hills to walk across. However, I would recommend on a day like today you wear shorts. I'm wearing heavy jeans because if I go on a new path, I don't know if it's going to be overgrown. When you're walking through overgrown shrubbery, that's where you end up getting ticks attaching themselves to your legs. So I tend to always wear long trousers, but this path is so well defined, you honestly don't need to wear long trousers walking up here on a sunny day. Oh, there it is. Oh, yeah, beauty. That'll be Greeto Bridge. That was my target. I knew there was a bridge over the water, over Greeto Water this is, it joins Gogo Water. And it isn't away down a big steep hill. Oh, that's really satisfying. I've got a sense of achievement because I honestly didn't think I was going to make it up here in this heat. I can see somebody down by the river. So that's an excuse not to go down by the river. I'm going to grab a seat on this picnic bench. What an ideal place to put a picnic bench. Thank you, whoever had that idea. Oh, there's people fishing. Going to sit here for 5 minutes, take my hat off and relax. Drink some water. see if this fella can catch a fish. They caught a fish. I wonder if they'd let me video it. Hello. I was coming to video your fish and you've let it away. I just looking down, saw you catching something, thought, oh, success, not to worry. Yeah, the reason you'll find a car up here is I believe there's a hydroelectric dam just further up that hill. I'll not be going to it. I'll probably be going back the same route. Now, I was looking at my map and it seemed to suggest that you can go down into the valley along a path that follows Gogo Water right back to the coast. And the path is supposed to be just at the corner I was at there before I came down to this bench. But honestly, I didn't see a path. So I'll get the map out as I head back and see if I can pinpoint exactly where it is. Because if I could just walk down the hill there, then follow the river, that would be fantastic. But I suspect the map is talking nonsense. I'll soon find out. Anyway, I'm getting barbecued here in the sun, so I'm going to head back. There's a little waterfall there. I think there's quite a few the further down you go. That youngster down there looks like they've been paddling in the water. I wouldn't be doing that because the water looks a bit stagnant at that pool. You're catching all the mud coming off the slopes, so it isn't exactly as clean as you'd get from a glacier in Switzerland. Although I bet you it's nice and refreshing. Right, I've got the map out. And I'm at the location where the map claims there's a path down to the water. Let me show you what it looks like. I mean, there's a hint of a path there, but barely, and it's very steep, so I'm not going to be taking it. I think what I'll maybe do on another day, I'll maybe head down to Gogo Water at the coast and follow the path wherever it starts down there and follow up the hill to see where it reaches, because from here it's non-existent. Now, there is another road that goes down there. I wonder if that would take me to the water, or if it would take me too far out the way. I'm going to chance it because it looks like it follows the valley. However, if it becomes overgrown, I'll turn around. Mind you, having said that, I'm walking down the hill. I don't want to turn around. If I turn around, I've got to walk back up the hill, and I don't fancy that. I'm catching a nice pleasant breeze coming up through this valley now. Although the sun's still out, the breeze just helps cool me down a wee bit. And going downhill helps as well. Oh, and I just pray I don't have to come back uphill, because this is steep Please do not send me back uphill. Oh man, I'm slipping in these stones. It's actually quite steep. I don't know how obvious it is to you watching how steep it is, but with these loose stones as well, it's making it rather slippy. There's a building down here, which I'm assuming is part of the hydroelectric system. A monitoring station or something, maybe. Ooh, yeah. Nearly fell on my backside there. Told you it was slippy. Yeah, that'll be a struggle if I have to go back up there. Yeah. It's a really steep hill, that. Oh no, there is no path here. No path here whatsoever. Don't you just hate it when the map tells you nonsense? I've just walked away down that big steep hill and there's not a single path in sight. Look at it. There's no path here. According to the map, the path is further up, but I didn't pass a path further up either. There's no path up here either. Right, so I use organic maps because it shows paths that Google doesn't have. It would appear it shows paths that don't even exist, and maybe that's why Google Maps doesn't have it in the first place. Apparently, this is a path. That's not a path. That's just shrubbery, grass. So I could walk along it and see if it became a path, but it's not going to become a path. So I'm going to have to walk up the steep hill. Thanks, organic maps. Have you ever watched The Good, the Bad and the Ugly with Clint Eastwood? Walking through the Scotland desert in the sun. I feel like that here. Oh man, this hill's so steep. I'm going to have to persevere because it's the only way back. I'm just going to have to stop a lot. This is actually a lot steeper than the hill I walked up to get here, because that was a gradual incline. This is just, I don't know how steep this is, close to 40 degrees anyway. Somewhere between 35 and 45 degrees, it's very steep. Probably doesn't look steep when I point the camera at it, but it is. I'm very much out of breath. I've made it near the top of the hill. Not quite there yet. So I've stopped at this picnic table because my legs are like jelly. Honestly, there's nothing more annoying than an incorrect map. And in this case, it's not even me that's reading it wrong, it's just incorrect. You know, if you're going to show a path, it needs to be a defined path, not just somewhere that people might try and walk, where it's just overgrowth. So, if you've got a recommendation for a free app that actually shows real countryside paths in Scotland, feel free to put a suggestion in the comments. Maybe Google Maps is the best because it doesn't show maps that don't exist. So I'm going to have to search because I don't want to be taken so far out the way that it absolutely exhausts me. You know, still breathing deeply. We sat here for 2 minutes. Oh man. Okay, stop filming, have a drink of water, get a second wind, power up that hill. Then, once I'm up this wee last bit of hill, it's downhill all the way. Thank... It's a good job I don't swear, isn't it? Off we go for the final push. By Greeto Bridge. Hello main path. I've never been so delighted to see a bit of rough ground in all my life. Look at that path I took, winding all the way down into that valley. Right down to the bottom. Well, this is the most exercise I've had in years. I mean, I've filmed this valley on the way up here, but I'm just not tiring of it on the way back. It's just stunning. And even better, on the way back, I'll be looking out towards the sea, looking out towards the islands in the Firth of Clyde. What a view. I'm not even at the top of the hills here. And look at that on my right hand side. Another good few hundred feet to get up there. And I did see a path going up that way. So you could probably get an even better view if you climbed all the way up there. But I've done enough for today. But I might come back here in a clear, cool day and try and reach that peak up there. That's probably the highest point I can see around these parts, on this side of the water anyway. Millport and the peaks of Arran in the distance, in the haze. They really are towering peaks. I don't think Goatfell, which is the highest peak in Arran, is a Munro. It's a little bit short of 3,000 feet. But the thing about it is if you go to walk up it, you're pretty much starting from sea level. So you're pretty much going from 0 feet to almost 3,000 feet, so it's a tough climb. Whereas if you went to some of the Munros in the Highlands of Scotland, you're not starting from 0 feet, you know, you're not starting from sea level. In a lot of these places you've already driven up to a parking spot that might be a few hundred feet high. So you could climb Goatfell and Arran and still have a seriously tough workout. I've never done it, I'd love to do it. I wish I'd done it 25 years ago when I knew how accessible it was. But I've only discovered how accessible these islands in the west coast are in recent years, and I'm too old to haul my old bones up them unless I join a gym and get fit. But if I went to a gym and got fit, it'd be full of young people showing me up. How would my pride cope with that? I'd probably be fine, couldn't care less. But I'm not forking out 50 quid a month for a gym, because I'm too stingy. Midges, hundreds of them, oh my goodness. Do you know, when I got the train out here today, I thought I could film more than one video out here today. Just spend the day in Largs, do this walk, go back to the coast, do the walk up to the marina, which is about an hour there and an hour back. But to be honest, I didn't bank on how tough this walk would be. And you know, I've still got to get a train home and the sweat is pouring out of me. And if I go walking even further in Largs, honestly, I'm going to be a stinking mess and I don't want to get the train sit next to people. and be absolutely humming. So, I don't know, I might stop for a rest in the town once I get there, but I don't think I'll walk any further. But I'm going to film the view on the descent down off this hill because it's quite spectacular. So I'm going to point my camera towards it and let you enjoy. With the two ferries that alternate between trips between Largs and the pier on Cumbria Island, where you would go if you're going to Millport, where I was a couple of weeks ago. Go and watch the video. For some reason nobody's watching that video, and I think it's my best video yet, so it shows you what I know. See, what I did with that video is I did a very short intro, then I added about a minute of music. But looking at my analytics, as soon as the music starts, everybody switches the video off. It's only an intro, you know, so I don't know why. I thought a little bit of music would be better than me just constantly talking, or complete silence even. But no. The viewers do not like the musical intro. Whilst I take this rather pleasant descent down the hill, I'll give you a wee bit of information on how to get here. Because it is accessible by public transport, which is pretty obvious because I'm here and I don't drive. So if you're a visitor to Glasgow, you can get a train from Glasgow Central train station to Largs. It'll take you about an hour. The cost of it, I'm guessing for a return, would be around, I don't know, £10-ish. I don't know the exact fare. But that'll get you there and back. An hour there, an hour back. The start of this trail is only about a 10-minute walk from the train station. Maybe not even 10 minutes. Probably less than 10 minutes. Just get your map out and look for Greeto Bridge and be able to see where the trail starts. You just need to walk down a couple of streets and that's you at the entrance. No, but be aware, it is all uphill. So if you're old or really unfit, it might be a bit of a struggle. You know, it probably took me about an hour to get up this hill. That's an hour of solid walking uphill. And as you saw, I was struggling. But I'll be honest and say I'm not very fit. So if you get a reasonable level of fitness, you should be able to manage it. And if you come in a cooler day, it should be a lot easier. So there you go. You don't need to go to places that would be considered touristy to get a bit of nature in Scotland, and you don't need a car to get out into the hills of Scotland. This, nearly slipped. This is easily accessible, so just follow my instructions and you'll find it no bother. I mean, look at that view, all the way along the coast. I've pointed out these islands. With Arran, Millport, Bute, and the peninsula on the southwest of Scotland. I think that is over there. I don't think that's Bute away in the very far right. So that'd be where I think Campbelltown is. I think somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, if that is still one of the islands, but I don't think it is. Anyway, that peninsula would be over there somewhere. See, I would like to live in Largs, because I just like it down here at the coast. But the houses are so expensive, I can't afford them. And unfortunately YouTube doesn't make me any money. So, and there's no work down in Ayrshire really. You know, you're heavily reliant on public sector work if if you work in the hospital or the council. There's nothing else. And to be honest, the web development I do doesn't pay enough freelance to be able to move down here. Just a wee bit unfortunate, because if I was freelance and didn't have to commute, this would probably be top of my list to move to. You know, if I made money from YouTube, I'd probably move down here. But unfortunately, we can't all be Mr. Beast. Although I am up to the giddy total of 65 followers. So whoever's just newly followed me in the past few days, cheers. If you just add an extra few thousand and get an extra few thousand watch hours on my videos, that'd be grand. Because apparently watch hours are more important than subscribers. Like, Google doesn't push your videos. If somebody clicks on it and watches for a minute, then switches it off, they just stop recommending your videos to people. So I really need people to watch all the way through, whether that be, oh, this guy's alright, maybe I'll just leave him on in the background whilst I'm doing the dishes. I need that kind of thing to try and help me get the algorithm to push me out there a wee bit. And then hopefully there'll be some people find it interesting what I'm doing. And it's weird because I know I'm only talking, I'm not cracking jokes or being the life and soul of the party. But the thing is, the other people I watch are doing this and I've got loads of subscribers. So I don't know if they just got lucky with one viral video. You know, one viral video is all it takes, and then everybody starts watching you. I suspect that's what it is. But none of my videos are viral yet. I have every faith that somebody will do it. There's an old fella I watched on here, I think his name is Mac. It's his channel called Wander with Mac, I think it is. Lovely old guy, lives in Dumfriesshire, I think, and he has about 400,000 subscribers. I was like, how does he get that many subscribers? So I looked it up, and it turns out that an influencer in TikTok was looking for people who had no views on their videos and decided to promote him when he saw him. And overnight, he pretty much went from being followed by 3 men in a dug to hundreds of thousands of subscribers. So, I mean, I don't know if it works in the long run, because I think you still have to have decent content. But I think what I try to do with this is just talk. When I first started, I wasn't talking at all, so I didn't want to put my face on camera. A bit of an introvert, and I was like, I'm not putting my face on camera. But since I've started doing it for the past couple of months, it's actually fine. I'm just talking nonsense, walking about, taking videos, and I couldn't care less if anybody points and laughs. One of the benefits of getting older is you get a bit more thick-skinned and couldn't care less what people think, and that's pretty much where I am. I'm a baldy, knackered old man, and that's fine. I'm quite happy to embrace what I am, and if I'm boring, I'll embrace that as well. But some people like boring. Well, I was kind of inspired when I read a news article a couple of months ago. There was this club in Britain called Dull Man's Club. I mean, what is it? The clue's in the name. It's old guys doing dull things like train spotting or stamp collecting. But they've got a massive following, there's people join. Some people don't want to be living a wild life, especially the older you get, so that's me. I don't want to get steaming, I don't want to party. I just want to go a wee wander, play the occasional game on the computer, make the occasional website, and now make these videos and see where it leads. But if it doesn't lead to anything, I don't care, because I enjoy doing it. So anyway, I'll sign off there and point a last wee picture of the panorama towards you. So, thanks for watching, and cheerio.